Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and this is actually going to be a very special episode today where I am actually going to go over my new TBR game. So I've been playing TBR games for the last 4 or 5 months to kind of give myself a reason to read, so to give myself prompts to really push myself to read new books, and just like almost any other YouTuber, booktuber that is on YouTube. I did Bookopoly for a few months. I kind of was using the prompts from Maddie, Books Browsing blog, because she does Dart Attack, and I've also kind of just mood read over the last few months. Last month, I actually took part in Whatever-a-thon, like I've told you in a few other videos. So I kind of used prompts from that from that challenge to pick the books that I read. But I've been really wanting to make my own reading TBR game. And for those of you that don't know, TBR games are just any old game, like based off of other games or other, kind of like themes. Like Dart Attack is darts, Bookopoly is Monopoly with book prompts on it. Several other games like that exist. I wanted to make my own, and every booktuber has some version of their own game to really get them to, just have fun picking out books and to really challenge themselves. Now, I really wanted to make my own, and I had the idea of making it D&D based because I love D&D, I love role-playing, I've been doing it for a very long time, and I thought that this would be a really great opportunity to kind of mix the two together, especially since I have the Bard as a mascot for my channel. So I decided to make a D&D based TBR game, but I didn't want to just make it like any other D&D game. I have seen a few people, but very few people, use D&D as a basis, or RPG games in general as a basis for a TBR game, but very few, like I said. And no one's doing quite what I want to do. And what that is my TBR Side Scroller game. So that is the name of my new TBR game that I have created, and this video is going to just explain the rules, the directions for how to play, and also I just want to make it very clear that although it is a TBR game, although it is meant to challenge you, even if you only read a little bit, you should still play this game because it is meant for anyone that is considered a reader. And by reader, I do really mean that you just enjoy reading. You don't have to be like me and like other YouTubers where they read 10, 20 books a month. Like, you don't have to do that to play this game. You literally just have to read, and that's the whole point. So without further ado, I don't want to take any more time just explaining the concept. Let's go ahead and go over the rules. So in choosing your TBR, which is to be read books, you have to roll dice to decide how many books you have to read. Now I'm going to give kind of an idea of easy, medium, hard, and expert mode with that. So what that means is how many books you have to read that month. If you're not a big reader and you only want to be challenged a little bit, the easy mode is rolling a d4, and so the d4 will determine how many books 1 through 4 that you would have to read that month. The medium mode would be a d6, so you would read any book from 1 to 6 books in that month. Now, I consider that medium because the hard and expert are for those people that really challenge themselves, that really read a lot. So, for instance, for me, and for like the basic rule for building your TBR for the game, is that you roll a d20. And when you roll the d20, it's considered a con save. So if you get less than 10, you only have to read 5 books that month. But if you get 10 or higher, you have to roll another d4 and add that to the total number of books. So it'll always be 5 for this mode, but then the d4 will add on to that 5. If I roll 3 on a d4, I have to read 8 books that month. And so there is a total of potentially 9 books that I would have to read in that single month if I was to fail that con save. Then for each of those books, for each of the books that you roll, you have to roll a d100, or what's called percentile dice, to determine what kind of prompt is going to be selected for that book. And there is actually a table, which I'll show right here, that goes over all of the prompts. There's 2 different numbers that you can roll for one single prompt, so there are a total of 50 prompts that you can potentially have when having to pick a book. Now, if you fail the TBR, so after a month of playing this game, if you weren't able to read the books that you were supposed to, that you were challenged to do, then you have to add 1 book to your new TBR, to the next month's TBR, and that prompt for the book needs to be from this table. Now this table is much, much harder. It is called the spell table, and it's based off of different spells from D&D. The reason why it's a bit more difficult is because they're very specific. So for instance, animal handling. Animal handling, if you get that prompt, then you would have to pick a book that has animals involved in it or animals on the cover. Now that may be a bit more difficult for you to find in your own personal library, so you might have to get a book. So that's kind of the challenge of that you failed the TBR, so now you have to have a much harder prompt to be able to complete, as well as adding another book to what you have to read next month. Okay, so that's the basic rule, and honestly, if you wanted to just play that part of the game, you are more than welcome to. If you just want the challenge, then that's fine. However, what I think most of you will really appreciate and really be excited about is the leveling up portion of this game. So, to level up, all leveling up is it's really just for say. It's to say, oh, I'm level 10, I'm level 1, I'm level 20, and it does go all the way up to level 20. What leveling up is you level up your character just like in D&D. So it's based off of an experience scale. You have to have a certain amount of experience points to be able to get to a certain level. And you always start at level 1, which is at 0 experience. So all of you are level 1 currently. Now, you gain experience based on the number of pages read that month, but only for the books you finished that month. So if you've read half of a book, but it's the end of the month, you can't count those pages as experience. You have to finish the book before the end of the month. So for example, if you read a book that was 250 pages long, you get 250 experience. So for every extra book that you read during that month that wasn't part of your TBR, so like if you were supposed to read 5 books and you read 6, you get an extra 50 experience per book on top of the experience you get from pages. So for instance, if my TBR was 6 books and I read 7 books, I get the experience from all those pages plus an extra 50 for that book. So that's like the basic rules. That's the basic way that you can get experience. But there are bonuses that you can also get from reading certain types of books. So for instance, if you've just bought a book within the year and you read it, then you get 25 points of experience for that book on top of anything else that you got from that book. So for example, if I read 200 pages, if a book is 200 pages, and I bought it within this last year, I'll get 200 experience plus 50 experience for a total of 250. If I read a book that's 200 pages and I got it in the last year, but it's also outside of my TBR, it's an extra book, it would be 200 experience plus 25 experience for it being hauled in the last year, plus another 50 experience for being an extra book. And that would be a total of 275 experience. Another bonus is that if you're part of a book club, so if you read a book that's part of a book club, then you get another 25 points of experience. So if that book is 200 pages, you get 200 experience plus the 25 experience for it being a part of a book club. If you read a book that's over 400 pages, now this bonus is kind of meant to be like an incentive to read big books. You get another 25 points of experience on top of any other experience. So with all of that in mind, all the bonuses, all of the pages that you've read, you pool together that experience and you determine what level you are. So like I said, you start off at level 1, which says 0 experience. Now let's say you've read and got bonuses all together coming up to 2,700 experience. 2,700 experience based on this table is a level 4 character. So you can consider yourself level 4 at the end of the month. And that does mean that you can potentially get multiple levels in the same month. You don't have to only go to level 2, even if you have the experience to go higher. You will be whatever level you have experience of. Okay, so that's the basic rules. So we've gone over how to select your TBR, and we've gone over how to determine your level, your experience. Now, there are a few other things that you could do outside of just reading. Now, I kind of made this for myself because I don't just like to read, I like to do other things, and I know other people like to do that as well. And I consider these side quests. So for every side quest that you complete within that month, you get an extra 100 experience, which is quite a bit more than what you would get from any other bonuses from other books. This experience gets added on to your total experience for the month, but you do not get the experience if you do not finish the side quest. There is no, you don't get anything deducted if you start it but don't finish it, but you don't get the experience if you don't finish the side quests. So the 3 side quests that are available at the moment, and again, they're personalized more towards me, but anyone could do these as well, is write a review of every book that you've read in that month. I personally use Goodreads, but you could also just consider that to be like you tell your opinion on Facebook or on Twitter, or any social media that you consider to be worthwhile of giving your opinion of a book. I would consider that to be giving your review. I personally am going to use Goodreads because I'm trying to use Goodreads as much as possible to kind of give the authors the credit that they deserve for the books and the ratings that they deserve. So another way to get possible bonus points from a side quest is to watch all of the adaptions of the books that you've read. So if a book has a TV or movie adaptation, then you need to watch that in order to get the extra points. And you need to watch all of the adaptions that you've read. So if you've read 3 books that all have adaptions, you would have to watch all of those adaptions before the end of the month to get these points. So this could be really easy because maybe you only have one book, like for instance last month I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That is a movie. So if that's the only book that has an adaptation and I watch that movie before the end of the month, I'll get 100 experience. However, if I read 4 books that all have TV adaptions and that all have multiple seasons, I'm probably not going to be able to watch all of that before the end of the month. So I just don't get the experience for that. But it's still worth, at least for me, it's worth trying to kind of compare the adaptions to the reading. I find that really enjoyable, and I thought that that'd be a great way to get extra experience to kind of, incentivize you to make those comparisons as well. And then the final possibility of doing a side quest is to create artwork for all of your 5-star rated books. So I'm an artist. I love digital drawing and traditional drawing, and I had already had this idea a few months ago of making digital art, kind of like book cover redesigns of all the books that I really enjoyed that month. So now this is kind of an incentive to do that. And I mean, I hope that all of you would be able to do that as well, even if it is something very, even if you consider it childish or not really professional, as long as you're kind of being creative and to just show what you thought were the main themes, what you thought were the main colors, the perspectives, whatever you think shows how you felt about the book in the form of art, I would consider that to fulfill that prompt. And again, you would get 100 experience if you were able to complete all of those. All of that aside, it really is just a title. It's to be fun. I'm going to ask that if you would like to share your experience with me, if you would like to tell me what your level is, I'm actually going to create a leaderboard every month where at the end of my videos, I'm going to have the leaderboard of where everyone's at as far as levels and experience. You can give me your username that you would like to use, the level that you're at, and the experience that you've gained. And I'll make a table of it at the end of my videos, and it'll just give you recognition. It'll show that you have been reading, that you've been enjoying reading, the reading experience, anything to do with reading. Even if you're not a big reader, you could still be part of this leaderboard. Now, there is a reason for these levels besides just a title. I'm going to be starting a video campaign that's going to be video based for now, but may eventually turn into live shows, where it's going to take my character, which is the bard, of course, and whatever level I am as far as reading is going to be the bard's level, and I'm going to run through a side scroller-esque campaign where the bard, or whatever character I'm playing or you're playing, has to go against 3 to 4 monsters. And these monsters are going to be themed based on different tropes like horror, psychological, dystopian. I could go over huge lists of different types of environments and themes that the character can be going through. But you're going to see as the months progress what I'm talking about. I'm also going to have different themes based off of different D&D campaigns that I've been a part of or that my friends have DM'd or GM'd. And I'm also going to have other types of games other than D&D be influences or themes for each of the videos, each of the mini sessions that my character will be going through. I'm hoping that you'd play along at home for those videos. I'm going to be giving a little information about the stats of the monsters so that maybe you could play with a friend at home to kind of get a little bit more experience and to really just have fun with the character that you're building from reading. So those videos are going to show my character, the bard, going through and fighting these monsters, and I'm going to have guest DMs control the monsters because that wouldn't be fair if I did it. So I'm gonna have guest DMs control the monsters and kind of take me through these little sections of a campaign that's leading towards the Mad Wizard Professor Randall Flagg. He is the main bad guy that I am trying to get to defeat at the very end at level 20. And this could take a very long time for me to get to, but it is going to be an experience that I hope I can share with all of you and to really grow and develop this game as we go along. Now, as I play through the game, if my character dies at any point, if a monster is just too strong for the bard to be able to move on, then I can do what I'm going to call campaign side quests. They're a little different from the side quests of the TBR game in that I just go against a couple more monsters. They're a little weaker, but if I can defeat those 2 to 3 monsters at the end of that side quest, I can get a reward. So not only will I get a little bit of experience from that reward, but I will also get 1 or more of potions, spell scrolls, and magic items. That's kind of like the initiative to be able to do those side quests, is that I can have those items to be able to use throughout the main campaign. And whatever items I get rewarded, you will also get rewarded if you would like to play the campaign at home. So just to go over again why the campaign could be important, why you might feel incentivized to play along as well, you get experience based off of the monsters that you defeat. So if I get to the end of that campaign's theme, at the end of that area, I'll get 25% of the monster's experience. And again, I will go over the details of each of the monsters in each of the videos that I produce from now. At the end of campaign side quests, I'll get 10% of the monster's experience plus the magic items that I would win. So for example, if I was to kill 4 monsters in the campaign and they total to be about 500 experience, I would get 125 experience. And this isn't just like random experience floating up in the air, it actually gets added to your level's experience. So I could potentially level up while doing these campaigns. And I'm hoping that you guys would also have a chance to level up. If any of this information was confusing, or if you weren't quite able to follow along with me, I'm going to have a worksheet that goes over all of the prompts. You can fill out your name, your class, your level, the month that you're playing the game. There is a table that goes over the number of books that you've read, what the books were called, what prompts they followed if you play along, the experience that you gained from it, any bonus experience you gained from it, which I've described before, like if you've bought it in last year, if it's over 400 pages, if it's part of a book club, etc. And then the total experience that you gained from those books. At the very bottom of the first sheet, you get previous experience, which for you starting off will be 0 because you haven't played the game before, but that's where you would put the experience that you had last month. Any side quests that you had completed over the month, and those side quests again are if you've watched adaptions, if you've made art of 5-star rated books, and if you've reviewed all of your books. The campaign experience, so if you play along with me in the campaign and you gain experience from that, you would add it to that section. Your current experience, so all of those numbers that you've just filled out totaled up, and then what your new character level is. Now you might not necessarily gain a level every month, but you can put what level it is based off of the experience that is now your new total. And then the second sheet is just like a table for if you play in the campaign. So there'll be names for the campaign areas and also the side quest areas, the experience that you gain from it, and any items that you gain from it. The items don't really matter in the main campaign unless you play in the side quest campaign. Okay, so those are the rules of my new game. I'm very excited to start playing this. I'm hoping that over the months we'll flesh out anything that doesn't make any sense or that are too complicated. I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this as much as I do. I'm so excited to take part in this, and I'm hoping that all of you will also take part and tell me where you are. What level are you? What kind of character are you? Are you a wizard, a bard? Whatever you are, please tell me. I'm so excited to hear what you consider yourself in the fantasy world of Dungeons and Dragons, or honestly any other RPG game that you could think of that you've maybe been a part of. I want to know what kind of character you are, what level you are from reading, and hopefully also take part in the campaigns that I go through. So next time you see me with this information, I'll be playing the TBR game for the first time this month, and hopefully I'll also have a episode recorded of the campaign, the very first session. Thank you so much. Please like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel if you would like to follow along with me on this journey, and I just want to say thank you so much for the support that you've given me so far, and hopefully for the continuous support that you give me in the future. Thank you.